Hey guys, today I want to talk about selling Pokemon cards on eBay because it's a complete nightmare. And I'm not saying this going off of 1 week of selling. I've sold over 6,000 items on eBay across about 5 years time. I just I've been doing it since I just part-time, just selling whatever I can on eBay, whatever cards I came across. Sell it on eBay even before all the crazy hype that we've have today. But it is honestly a complete nightmare to sell on eBay for many obvious reasons that you could probably guess, but also some deeper reasons as well. And I could go on this pretty much forever. Like I can make hours and hours of content of the goods and the bad side of selling on eBay. Yet today I want to try to hit as many as I can in as short time as possible to really let you know if you are thinking about selling Pokemon cards on eBay, it is a complete nightmare, yet it's still the best option for a new seller. So let me explain. First and foremost, the first problem you will encounter selling on eBay is letter mail scams. From my experience, if you send anything to someone in letter mail for over $50, you're getting scammed. Because what I realized over the last 5 years, so what one of the biggest things for me selling from Canada is that there was no eBay international shipping, no eBay envelope for a long time. Now there's eBay international shipping, but still no like the tracked letter mail envelope. So if you want tracking and you're not on the method for getting shipping discounts, you're paying like $10 to ship a package within your own country, even if it's just like a piece of paper, letter mail. So you'd probably sell it into you would just send it to the buyer in a regular envelope, plain white envelope. But if it's over like 30, 40, $50, people will just scam you. And how I can tell you for certain it's the dishonesty of people and not that, oh, they're genuinely getting lost. Basically, my rule has been now, if it's $10 to $20, I will ship it to them, letter mail, take that chance. But before, it was like $100 for me. If it was under $100, I was like, yeah, let me risk it. But I used to have item not received rates of like 10% of products, which is abysmally high. And I thought that was just normal. I thought that was normal that the industry thought that the Canadian Postal Service just sucked a lot. But since I made the change just $10, $20 and under, maybe one in a few hundred packages get lost. And I'm talking like international ones. Like across, like let's say if I get 200 orders and a bunch of them are domestic, some are international, maybe one will get lost that's international. Domestically, pretty much it never gets lost. If it gets lost, like it might even just be that person is greedy and wants to scam you for $10. Or it could genuinely be lost. But a letter mail getting lost domestically is like 1 in 1,000. A letter mail getting lost internationally is like 1 in 100, 1 in a couple hundred, and depends on the situation, the place. But eBay item not arrived scams are it's such a big issue in my opinion, that pretty much no one talks about because you can't really prove it. I say it's a big issue, but you can't really prove that people are just scamming you, because if you don't have tracking, right, you can't prove that it didn't get delivered. But if you do a simple test and use some logic, by only sending cheap items like under $10 with letter mail and the rest with tracking, and then as opposed to if you sent like $50 or $100 items without tracking, you'll see a huge difference in your item not received claims. And that's unfortunately the sad nature of humans and their dishonesty. I personally don't understand how someone could scam, just another guy. It's not like they're scamming like a big greedy corporation. They're just scamming just another guy trying to do something. But it is what it is. That's one thing. The other thing that goes hand in hand with that is item not as described scams. With this, there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. You're basically cooked. If you're selling on eBay, that's gonna happen to you at least once, maybe several times. And the best word of advice I could give you for that is don't sell over what you're comfortable losing. If you're not comfortable losing $100, don't sell more than $100 in one order. If you're not comfortable losing $1,000, don't sell more than $1,000 in one order. If you want to take that risk, go ahead. I have done that personally myself, where I was like, 50% chance they're gonna charge back this. They're gonna say item not as described, item not whatever. But I still took the chance, and sometimes it works out. And the reality is, you don't want to be on the other end of fighting someone if it doesn't work out. That's because eBay item not as described might be the most powerful tool for scammers ever. It can even corrupt an innocent person into a scammer because of how powerful it is. Even if you send an item with tracking, with insurance, with signature at delivery, you can still be victim to the scam. One guy, he opened up, a Japanese box that he bought, whatever, ripped all the packs, crumpled up the box, and then tried to put back the seal on and try and make it look warped. To that, I showed him, well, I literally took a screenshot of the delivery picture and said, your box is perfectly intact. How did your item get damaged during delivery? How is that possible? And then he didn't respond. But basically, people will go to absorbent lengths. Some people will edit a photo. Some people will just switch it out. One time, a guy, he ordered 10 Evolving Skies packs, shipped them in, and then he said, oh, you actually only shipped me 10 Chilling Rain packs. You didn't ship me Evolving Skies. His account got banned because he was doing this to multiple sellers at once. Not the smartest guy ever. But the point is, you can always fall victim to scams. It's so easy. They just take a picture of a rock and say that's what you sent them. Say it was damaged, whatever. They're getting their money back. You're actually better off if they file a chargeback, because then eBay will protect you under seller protection if you have tracking. But if they open a case within eBay, you're basically cooked. Just wrap it up. And that's why that's always going to be a huge risk. It's pretty much impossible to hedge against that. The only thing you can do is don't sell more than you're comfortable losing. That's the only thing I can do. Unfortunately, after 5 years, still have not discovered anything really to combat that. But however, usually when you sell, lower amounts like 2, 3, 4, 500, it doesn't happen. You sell the occasional 1,000, usually it doesn't happen. But if you sell, constantly $5,000, $10,000 items, it's probably gonna happen to you soon, because it is what it is. That's how people are. Then, furthermore, another really, really big issue, I don't know if people are talking about this or not, selling with eBay, is you don't own anything. You don't own the user data. You don't own the customer's emails. You don't own their loyalty. You don't own anything, basically, and you have built nothing. And I'll tell you, just during my peak last year, I was doing like 30,000 a month on eBay, and now it's down to like what, 10,000 a month, or 8,000 a month, whatever. And I knew it was gonna happen. I wasn't on cloud nine and saying like, oh yeah, I'm rich, I can quit everything, I can move to Miami and party. Because when you sell on eBay, you will just feel that gut feeling. If you're aware and you're a humble person, you will know that you have not made anything. You have not made it. There's very, very few sellers that actually make it on eBay. I'm pretty much overgeneralizing when I say that you can't make it while selling on eBay, but how many people do you see, even in just our niche alone, in Pokemon cards, truly make it big on eBay, whereas they can build strong brand loyalty? Little to none. Especially if they have nothing existing outside of eBay. If you have social media, you have your own website coupled with it, yeah, maybe. But if you're just building yourself out from the trenches on eBay, it's not going to go well. And that's simply because, first of all, there's so much competition. When you search Pokemon on eBay, there's over 100,000 results. So you're competing with 100,000 people, at least, to sell your item. And even if you do really well one month, you could go down to 0 next month. You could get cut in half, get cut in a third. Because you don't own anything. You can't email these customers to come back. People forget your handle or something. They'll move on to the next seller. But if you build out your own website, have people recognize you, have people here, feel a connection with your brand, you can build something that is long term. And that's what most of us want. You want to build a brand, a company long term. That all goes back to the basics of business. Branding, company loyalty, and that's what you need to build a successful company. With eBay, you don't own it. You have nothing. It's nothing more than just reselling. And I'm okay to admit that. I've been slowly working on trying to build out my own brand, my own company. But if you're only selling on eBay, you're pretty much just a reseller. It's very difficult for you to reach massive scale and maintain it selling on eBay. Plus, they could wake up and ban you any day. Even 3 years, 2-3 years ago, I almost quit because the sales were like less than 1,000 a month. Even though at that time I was peaking like 5,000 a month, they would go down below 1,000 a month simply because eBay kept taking down my listings. I don't know if someone was spam reporting me, but eBay kept taking down the listings, and they even suspended me from selling for like a month, and then on the next month. Plus, at one point they had like $16,000 held from me because they held my payments for a whole month, and that was during a peak season, and I was running out of cash to keep buying products and filling these orders. It's a nightmare. When I say it's a nightmare, I'm not exaggerating. That's not even the entire gist of everything. I just want to give the quick biggest things that you should be aware of. I could make another part soon, but this video would be far too long if I were to say every single thing about eBay that you should be aware of. But anyways, after those 3 major things, I still want to round out the video by reiterating the point that it is still the best platform for sellers to start out on. It is your best bet. And that's because starting your website, you gotta build your website, you gotta pay for it, you gotta pay for ads, you gotta list everything, you gotta deal with, getting seen on Google, getting up there. It's a whole different war zone, and it might be similar to just as hard, competing on eBay. And it is worth it in the long run. I promise it's worth it. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And yet, it's still better to start out on eBay. And that's because if you only have $500, you're not going to make it selling on your own website. You don't have money for ads. You don't have money to even pay for the domain and the website host. Like, you don't have, you can't afford the inventory. People expect your site to be stocked. On eBay, if you want, you can throw up one item, and that's it. No one expects anything from you. You can use it and coupled with things like Facebook Marketplace to start up your business, to get the initial capital, to get those flippings going, buy up more inventory before you decide to launch your own site. I have probably 100,000 in inventory right now, and I still say that it's pretty difficult to start a site with this unless you're like really honed in. Like if you have $100,000 of just Japanese cards, you could probably start a site. But if I have like 100,000 in Japanese, Korean, One Piece, English Pokemon, boxes, and I only have like one of each, it could be quite difficult. But yeah, that's why you should just start off at eBay. Yeah, you'll run into some scammers, and hopefully you're not the unlucky one that gets completely blown out, right when you start selling, and take a detrimental loss that you can't continue. But if you just thug it out, you push through, you will be able to probably generate at least some revenue. You could hit 1,000 a month on eBay easily, just with enough time. It won't happen the first day, first month probably, but within a year or two, you're gonna hit 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and it just compounds from there. And once you've built enough of a foundation, you can go and make your site. If you already have the cash, by all means, work on your brand now. But if you're starting out with 0, like I did, eBay's a great way. With all the things all the negatives I mentioned, it is a nightmare. However, you slowly figure out how to navigate the trenches, how to reduce the chances of all these scams and all the bad things, and you'll make a lot of profit, a lot of losses, but you'll learn a lot of lessons along the way, and it will ultimately set you up well to start your own business for real with your own site when the time is right to do so. I hope that I can take this eBay path, continue it on, while also putting a way larger focus on building my own brand. And that's my goals, how I plan to approach it. And so if anyone is looking to start out their own business, selling on eBay is a great opportunity. It's still the best chance you have, the best shot. But it's a huge nightmare, so be ready. Be ready to weather the storm, and don't make the same mistakes, and avoid as much as you can and reduce the chance of these scams. But yeah, that's gonna be this video. If you have experience, you have anything else to add, let me know. I can always make another part because there's so much to say. That's gonna be it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.